Special education teams cannot diagnose a disability, and medical teams cannot determine special education eligibility. Do you hear the difference? It's really important for you to understand that special education teams, when they're going through the checklist, when they're figuring out what category of special education a child qualifies under, that they are not diagnosing a child with a disability. They're not allowed to do that. They just can't. So if you think that your school team can diagnose things like ADHD or ODD or autism, that's simply not true. If you think that your medical team, your doctors and professionals who are not part of the IEP team from the inside, they might be an expert on the outside, but they're not part of the team on the inside, they cannot prescribe an IEP. They cannot determine eligibility. Now, can they provide information to the team to consider for eligibility? Absolutely, 100% yes. But I want you to understand that as you start to go back in person for your appointments, as you start to go back in person for school, as you start to get all the documentation ready for this upcoming school year, I know we're just ending our school year. Some of you guys are not even out yet, but I'm looking to next school year and I'm looking what kind of services need to be provided for students so they receive that appropriate education. So they're meeting the unique needs of that student inside of the school, classroom, community, campus. What needs to be done to ensure that the child is prepared for further education, employment, and independent living? It's important for you to know what each person can and cannot do, because that's how we work together and use our resources wisely. We need to be able to tap into the expertise at the table and the expertise in the medical field and know where that information belongs so we can piece together everything that needs to be compiled to build that appropriate IEP. If you're ready to do that, if you're ready to dig in and make sure that everybody's expertise is getting used to the maximum level possible, it's time for you to become a master IEP coach. In fact, this is the final Master IEP Coach Mentorship of 2021 because there's going to be so much happening in the fall. I'm going to be all in with current Master IEP coaches. The only way to become a current Master IEP coach is either A, you've taken the class before, or B, you're going to come join us this summer. So hop on over to masteriepcoach.com. A couple of things are going to happen. One, you're just going to share your name and email. Don't worry, it's just going to me. I'm not going to give it to anybody else. Number two, when you do that, I'm going to send you an email that has a welcome guide in it. That welcome guide will give you all the details you need to see if you officially want to join us. If you want to sign up and be part of this Master IEP Coach community that 100% knows the difference between medical diagnosis, educational eligibility, ESY, which is not summer school, and how it's not just for regression, how to truly put together customized services and supports, accommodations, modifications, find that right curriculum, make sure inclusion is happening, all the things, and you don't have to do it alone. So go ahead. If this is new information to you, I want to hear that below here in the comments. If you haven't heard that difference between educational eligibility and medical diagnosis, which, by the way, let's just tap on that just for a second here too. That's how come some students, I'm going to use autism as an example. Some students will have educational autism, as in that's their eligibility criteria, but they will not have medical diagnosis because they don't meet that criteria. Some students will have medical autism, they meet the criteria in the medical world, but they don't have the characteristics that meet the criteria of educational autism, but they might meet the criteria underneath a different category. Here's the deal. Doesn't matter which category. I mean, that's kind of a bold statement that some people might want to argue with me about. Here's the thing. I just want a child to get the services they need. What bucket it falls into, whether it's OHI, other health impaired, or it's through educational autism, whatever that bucket is, I can work with whatever bucket they give us. As long as they're giving us the eligibility that a child needs supports, that they need additional access to their education, that they need this individualized plan so they have an appropriate education, we can work with whatever bucket we're given. You just need to know, what are you looking for to ensure that the student is receiving an appropriate education. Remember, the Master IEP Coach Mentorship is for parents, teachers, admins, therapists. I can't wait to see you there.